Well, we have a lot of stuff to talk about. The MLB's in the divisional round, NFL's heading into week 5 tonight, and the NBA Finals maybe almost done. Plus, I'll give my own WNBA Finals update just because I'm a little bit excited about that. But we've got a lot to cover and more. Join us on LIV. And ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. Yeah. Y'all already know my name is AJ Herschel, the kid, and I'm here with my man, Cademan Bauer. How you doing today, sir?
I am doing pretty well. I'm sort of tired because school and football and all of that's just a lot, but
yeah, I'm sure.
I'm still doing pretty good. How about you?
Right. I'm doing all right. School's also busy for me as well, but the sports are back, man. I was remembering back in May that we didn't even have the Olympics. We had nothing. It was just European soccer with FIFA audio, and it was like running on fumes, man. But we're back. Football, baseball, basketball, soccer, everything's back, man, and I could not be more excited about it.
Yep.
But we got a lot of stuff to cover today between the NFL and a whole bunch of other stuff. Really quick, we're going to go over some of the news really fast. First of all, Titans versus Bills is looking to be played on Tuesday night so far. The Titans had more players test positive for the coronavirus. Roger Goodell is starting to not quite threaten, but say, if we keep having positive tests from Tennessee, there will be consequences up to forfeiting games. Also, Broncos, Patriots, the New England Patriots have not had any more positive COVID tests other than Cam Newton. Their game has been moved to Monday just in case, just to let all of you guys know. Check your fantasy teams, check your rosters and everything. Make sure you know what dates are where. Also tonight, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers facing the Chicago Bears on Thursday Night Football. But let's start to talk about other sports first of all. Cademan, what do you want to start with today?
AJ, why don't you hit us with the NBA?
Okay, well, the NBA, the Lakers are up 3-1 on the Heat. The Heat had a great game too, to be fair, but in the first game back with Bam Adebayo, they lose by 6 points to the Lakers, 102-96. Game 5 will be played tomorrow. Cademan, does this shock you at all? The Heat are down this much?
I don't think so. I mean, especially when Bam went out, I kind of thought, he's their number 2 guy. He's so productive all the time. He gets other guys open shots or whatever. So when he went out, I kind of thought, you know what? Unless Jimmy Butler just scores 50 points every game, I think it's kind of probably over. What about you, AJ?
I don't think it's over. The Heat definitely have a chance. This is the team that's been scrappy the entire year. And this goes back to what I was saying, and you can testament to this. What I was saying before the series started, the Heat need Jimmy Butler to be insane. The one game they have won this series, he had a triple-double, 40 points, 13 assists, 11 rebounds. That was the one game they won. When Jimmy goes in insane mode, when he turns it up to 11, they win. The Lakers are not a team that you can put up 23 points and 11 assists on. Look, Jimmy, you're playing very well. You're hitting a triple-double almost every single game, but you have to break that wall, dude. You got to get more than 25 points a game. That's part of the reason what's killing the Heat. They work so well together as a team that one or two of them start to slip. They just can't keep up with LA. And on the Lakers side, Rajon Rondo, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they have had just everybody step up. Danny Green in game 1, they have had incredible points coming off the bench and from their other stars between AD and LeBron. And this is just my thought. And I said this back at the second round of the playoffs. I think if you want a good chance at the finals, you need 2 true studs. This is why the Lakers are so good. They have LeBron and AD. This was my problem with almost all the teams in the Eastern Conference. Bucks, look, Middleton's good, but he's no Davis. What's his name? The Raptors. Look, Siakam's good, but Van Fleet's no Anthony Davis. Talk about the Heat. Look, Jimmy's good, but Bam Adebayo is no Anthony Davis. You need a second stud if you want a really good shot. The Heat are gonna have to work very, very hard if they want to come down from 3-1.
Yeah. So AJ, I know you said there's definitely a chance, but do you think they will? Do you think they even have a chance to make it a 7 to go to game 7?
Yes, I think they do have a chance, but it all starts tomorrow. They need to gain momentum. If they win that game, I think their chances go up exponentially because the Heat are a team that can go on a run and win multiple games in a row. But if they don't get out to a good start tomorrow night, I think it's over. I think the Lakers take it. They have to come out of the gate firing.
Agreed. Unless you got anything else for those teams, that move on to the MLB, right?
That's pretty much it for me. Yeah, sounds good. So the MLB is in their divisional round. Cademan, how about you?
You there? It appears AJ has accidentally left, but I'm still here. And so, yeah, I would say. So first of all, we had the Braves sweeping the Marlins. That was a big deal. I did not expect that. They just played. The Braves just played crazy offense the whole time, and of course, like their pitching staff is usually great. Oh, there you are. What's up?
Yeah, I'm right here. Sorry. I X'd out of the wrong tab, actually.
Yeah, so I was just talking about the Braves sweeping the Marlins, like how the Braves just played crazy good offense the entire time, as a whole team. But I mean, also their pitching staff is just very solid. They have basically everything. And compared to the Marlins, that really went well for them. And then, let's see, you had, a big one was also, this was even bigger in my opinion, the Astros beating the Athletics.
Yeah.
That was huge. Like they were hitting the ball, like you would see double after double, walk after walk, whatever it was. They won game 4 11-6, and they were playing, and that wasn't their, even I would say it probably wasn't even their best game. I think in the other games they could have scored just as much or more, but I think there were a couple times when they had like certain errors, or maybe not even errors, but I think just maybe mistakes that they could have improved. But yeah, I think the Braves and the Astros certainly deserve to advance.
Yeah, I think I would completely agree with you on that. Even though I would disagree with you a little bit on the Braves, the entire year, their weakness was their pitching staff. That's what everybody thought they were bad at, because they had Max Fried and no one else under them. Ian Anderson, if he had started the year, he would be probably the front runner for Rookie of the Year. It would be him and the guy from the Brewers, who you can help me remember what his name is, because for some reason I cannot think of it. No, the rookie, Devin, whatever his name is. It Devin Williams?
Yeah.
Devin Williams. Yeah. Him and if Ian Anderson started the year, both of them would be neck and neck for Rookie of the Year. Anderson has been shut down. He is the number 2 the Braves have needed behind Max Fried. If anything, it's obviously going to be the Braves hitting that takes them very far in the playoffs. That's what it's been the entire year. They let up runs and they put up more on you. They have hitters throughout their entire lineup: Acuna, Freeman, D'Arnett, Albie, Swanson, etc. They don't even have Josh Donaldson anymore, and they're scoring more runs. The Braves are an offensive team through and through, and they are making teams pay, but now their pitching is even better. For the Astros, I think they just clicked when they needed to. They lost Verlander. Greinke's having a little arm trouble. Their offense has come together. What I'm really interested to see, though, is whether the Yankees can survive the Rays tonight. They're in the bottom of the second. Yankees are up 1-0. Yeah. Cademan, do you think the Yanks force a Game 5, or do you think the Rays end it right here?
I think the Yankees do force a Game 5. I think that someone, and I don't know who it could be because they have so many great hitters and great pitchers, you name it. They are one of the most complete teams. I think they do force Game 5 upon the Rays. I think that, and I could be wrong, it's just one game away, but I think that someone's going to really go off, and it's going to change. Like, it's going to become like a Braves offense. I think tonight is going to look like a Braves offense, where they maybe don't have a good first 2 or 3 or even 4 innings, and then they just start double after double. Yeah, that's my prediction.
All right. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think they've got bases loaded sitting up there right now, if I'm not correct. So they're really going to have to get their hits on Ryan Thompson, but he's struggled so far in the game. And just like the Braves, Yankees have hitters throughout their lineup: Judge, Hicks, Voit, Stanton, etc. It just keeps on going. The one other series, Padres looking to try to survive. Dodgers looking to close it out tonight. They're up 2-0 on Slam Diego. Cademan, can Tatis and Machado save the Padres season, or is it, or are the Dodgers heading straight to the NLCS to play the Braves?
It's actually really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I just, based on the pitching of the Dodgers, based on that, I would probably say they're the most consistent, or maybe not most consistent, but of the most consistent and the most complete team. I think Mookie Betts and Justin Turner and Cody Bellinger, whoever, even though Cody Bellinger hasn't been playing great, I think whoever it is, you name it, I think they just all work great together. I think Tatis Jr. and Machado put up a fight like they always do, but I think it's going to end up being one of those games for the Padres where, hey, great, Tatis and Machado got on base, but then Eric Hosmer, is he going to get on base? Well, I don't know. I doubt it, and if he does, is who else would be behind him? Like Tommy Pham?
Oh, Will Myers easily.
Will Myers is right behind him, and then Tommy Pham.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that they're going to have like a struggle in their lineup somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be consistent the whole game, but you can quote me on that.
Yeah. I think the Dodgers probably close it out tonight. They've got Dustin May, I think, on the mound. And Cademan, against Dustin May, Will Myers is 2 for 11. Machado is 4 for 16. And Tatis is 1 for 13.
Oh, that's bad.
I think it's over for the Padres tonight. I think the Dodgers are definitely the team that is best prepared for the World Series easily. This could be the year they win it. And I think so. Let me ask you this. Any overall thoughts on how the playoffs have gone so far with the MLB? I mean, 8 teams. Have noticed anything different? Anything you like, dislike about it?
I mean, for something different I've noticed is just I think the Astros, they weren't amazing during the regular season. But they really showed up the Athletics. Well, at first they showed up the White Sox, which, I mean, I kind of thought they probably would. Then they showed up the Athletics.
Wait, you mean the A's played the White Sox? The A's played the White Sox.
Oh, right. They played the
Twins.
The Twins. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they swept them. So that was – I think I predicted that. But I think that – so I think that was interesting that the Houston has advanced that far because they did not have a crazy great start to their season. But what I did not expect was that the Yankees would – well, maybe I did. I don't know. It's hard. I want to say I expected everything, but I need to say I didn't expect everything.
Yeah.
Maybe the thing I didn't expect was that the Giants would defeat the Cardinals in the first round. I don't know. I just kind of thought that the Cardinals would be kind of bad.
You mean the Padres? Giants didn't make the playoffs.
The Giants didn't play them. Sorry, Padres. Sorry. My mind's gone. The Padres, yeah. I thought that, like, Colton Wong and their whole team would be kind of flowing throughout the playoffs because, like, I mean, obviously when they had the breakout with COVID and stuff, and everything kind of fell. But then as I noticed, the team just kind of slowly, it seemed like, got better. And I don't think their record necessarily got way better, but I think their team did as a whole. And so I kind of thought, well, yeah, I don't know. I kind of felt like the Cardinals would do better. Mm-hmm. But they definitely didn't against the Padres. And I think something that surprised me was, like, how consistent Tatis Jr. and Machado and Grisham were. And you know what, you name it. But they were definitely not playing Clayton Kershaw. So
True.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest surprise was the NL Central kind of is garbage in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And and here's the thing, because a lot of people were worried once we expanded to 8 teams, like, oh, we're going to get a whole bunch of teams that didn't deserve to make it. Here's the thing. We had 4, count them, 4 NL Central teams make the playoffs. None of them advanced. None of them deserve to make the playoffs. The Cubs forgot how to hit in the playoffs. Once again, this is the second year in a row in clutch moments they failed. The Brewers' entire year hitting has been mediocre at best, and they got slammed by the Dodgers. Cardinals, just I don't know what to say about the Cardinals. They were just mediocre this year. And the Reds, they should have good hitting. They should have consistent pitching, but they choke in clutch moments. And the NL, honestly, after you hit those top 4, Dodgers, Padres, Braves, or even those top 3, Dodgers, Padres, and Braves, after that, it was really just whoever could make the playoffs at that point. Cubs forgot how to hit. And even after them, who did you have left? The Giants?
Yeah.
Phillies? Marlins just got swept. I think we should have known coming in, there were really only 3 teams that had a good shot of making it all the way to the World Series. And that's one of the things that surprised me. I thought anybody in the NL Central would have put up a better fight, but no, all of them just decided to go ahead and get swept except the Cardinals. I don't know what to say.
I don't either. I mean, I think you do. I think for some reason, I don't know what it was with the Cubs, because I definitely expected them to sweep the Marlins, just because the Marlins aren't any great elite team. They don't have crazy elite players, and when you have the Cubs and so many stars on there, I just thought, you know what? It almost looks like another World Series year, but it obviously is not.
Yeah, it was just really sad. I think since the World Series, I think the core of Javi, Rizzo, and Bryant in the playoffs after the World Series have been hitting 167 in the playoffs. The Cubs can't hit in October, and it annoys me because now we're going to have to break the team down. Anyway, I think we've talked enough about the MLB. You got anything else to finish with, or think we're good?
All good here. It's good to be here.
Sounds good. And before we hit the NFL, there's one thing. WNBA, the Seattle Storm swept the Las Vegas Aces 4-0. I'm super excited about it. Sue Bird is just still stinking consistent as always. Breanna Stewart, one of the best players in the WNBA today. Super excited about that. Cool. Other than that, let's move on to the NFL now. Real quick, just before we do, just want to remind everybody, we do have Allied Rivals shorts. They're just quick, short, 5 to 8 minute videos. We just did one on what our favorite uniforms were. Be sure to go check them out. Cademan hosts those. Let us know what you think. We also had some comments. Brett D, how you doing, man? He says the Lakers are going to win in 5. Titans might have to forfeit. True. And Packers are definitely going to win. LOL. They have a bye week this week, if I'm not
this guy.
Correct.
So cool.
I think they have a bye week, though. So
I think he means I think he means the Super Bowl.
It'll be interesting. As soon as they play like a top 5, I'm interested to see them play another team like the Saints, because the Saints was a good game.
I wish they were in Seattle in the regular season.
Yeah, just so we could get an idea of it. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get to before we talk about the 4 games we're going to highlight from this week. First of all, news: Bill O'Brien has been fired as general manager and head coach of the Houston Texans. Cademan, reactions to the Texans going 0-4 and the firing of Bill O'Brien.
So funny. I mean, kind of sad for the guy and the team. But
I was about to say, it's funny that a man lost his job. That seems a little bit wrong.
I think it's a little bit funny. I mean, well, you know what? Let's get serious. The Texans were terrible. Like, their offensive line could do nothing. Their defensive line was just mediocre and always there, sometimes putting some pressure on the quarterback, but not much. Their secondary was mediocre. But most of the time you saw when the offense was out there, they have no DeAndre Hopkins anymore. You saw Deshaun Watson running for his life every game. rooting against the Vikings where they went 0-4, where they should have gone 1-3, in my opinion. Because I think that against a beat up and a defense that has just kind of lost guys slowly, I think they should have beat them. But what's the Vikings linebacker's name?
Eric Kendricks?
Kendricks, yes. He was sideline to sideline. He was everywhere in that game. So I think he was like one of the big reasons that the Vikings won.
Yeah. With Bill O'Brien, honestly, my first reaction was, this is what happens when you trade DeAndre Hopkins. That was my first reaction. Second of all, and I was talking about this on Roto Hackers when we were looking at the Texans schedule. What the heck, NFL? You started a Texans team that didn't have Hopkins, had a garbage offensive line, and an aging defense. And you said, you know what? Let's start the season off and give them the Chiefs, Ravens, and Steelers. What? Yeah. What on earth? The Texans barely get a break this year. They get Jacksonville and Tennessee because they're their divisional rivals. Then what do you get? Green Bay. Later in the year, what do you get? Cleveland, New England. The Texans got messed up in this year in the schedule. That was my first reaction. Second, second reaction. Sorry.
I think definitely it's really messed up for the Texans, and I think they maybe should have waited a couple more weeks. I mean, it could have been like this the whole year. I mean, they probably win a few games here and there, but it's just such a hard schedule. I mean, starting off and playing the Ravens and the Chiefs and the Steelers, who have Ravens and Steelers. At that time, they were the top two defenses probably. Or I guess you have the Colts and them, but around there. And then the Chiefs, the best offense. And that's not going to – that could be an 0-3 for –
anybody. Like almost anybody.
In the NFL. Yeah. So I think they may have fired him a little early, but –
I think I disagree with that because he had already had, after what happened last year, you trade away Hopkins. I think that it was probably time, but either way, I mean, the Bill O'Brien experience has been going on for 6 years. So you should know by now whether he's your coach or not. But there's still, I think, 4 teams in the NFL that have no wins. And it's the Jets, the Giants, and the Falcons. Now, Joe Judge has stepped into absolute chaos with the New York Giants. So he's going to need time. Dan Quinn is supposed to be a defensive guy. Guess what's happening? The Falcons offense is the only thing that's possibly winning you games. You've got the Jets. They are the second worst offense in the NFL, not counting the game against the Broncos. I'm surprised Bill was first. That's my thing. You have Gase and you have Quinn, also 0-4. I can't believe it. I can't believe it's him first.
Quinn, I think that's really interesting because he has a crazy defensive mind. He can scheme up such great defenses. We've seen him do that before. But you know what? His defense is doing almost nothing. Like, it seems like now he has the offensive mind, or maybe it's just his offensive coordinator is doing everything. But what's up with Quinn?
I don't know. I was surprised he kept his job after last year, to be honest. I've never seen a coach get carried off the field after finishing a season 8-8. Just saying. Anyway, speaking of the Texans, though, Minnesota avoided going 0-4. They avoided going winless. They beat the Houston Texans 31-23. Cayman, what was your reaction to that? Also, Nathan Anderson says, "Sup, guys? Good to see you, Nathan. Let us know what you thought about week 4 of the NFL. Good to see you." So, what did you think, Cade?
Like I said before, I think Eric Kendricks played a huge part in this game. Even though he had like 12 tackles, 19 in total, something like that. Even though he didn't have as many tackles as he sometimes does, he was just putting pressure everywhere, sideline to sideline. He was putting pressure on the quarterback, run play, Dalvin Cook, he's there, Adam Thielen, he's there, you name it. He is like making up for a secondary that is kind of dwindled this year. I think that, definitely Adam Thielen, 114 yards. Justin Jefferson is also definitely improving at 103-yard game in just 4 receptions. So his average went way up. But Dalvin Cook is just amazing. And I kind of feel bad for him being on such a bad team. As a whole. He had 130 yards in total. He had 2 touchdowns. He is just such a consistent running back. He is one of the best in the league. It's just too bad that they're not. I don't really care. I'm actually kind of happy because I'm a Green Bay fan. But too bad for all those Minnesota fans, like my cousin Samuel. So I hope he watches this. That it is hard for them to win, and of course their first win is against another team that is 0-3, and they win because Eric Kendricks is great and because Dalvin Cook can do almost anything against a Texans defense. And I think the Texans were just messed up. Even though I will say Kirk Cousins had 260 passing yards and Deshaun had 300, which was a great game. Will Fuller was playing almost as good as he did week 1. Jordan Akins, Kenny Stills, Randall Cobb, David Johnson, they were just getting the ball around everywhere. And then your running backs were playing great, but their defense could not keep up.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think to the Texans defense, you played Dalvin Cook. What else are you supposed to say? You played arguably the best running back in the NFL. I think you can make a case that he's the best running back in the NFL with the exception of his injury history, because his injury history is bad. But Cook is explosive. He's fast. He's strong. When you go up against him, you already know you're at a disadvantage. The Texans defense they're older. They're older, guys. They're older. They're injury ridden. Whitney Merciless and JJ Watt aren't getting any younger. I'm sorry, guys. But I think that's the main problem with the Texans. And then with the Vikings, it's not that they got older. It's that everybody's gone. Xavier Rhodes is gone. Harrison Smith's trying to hold down a back line as best he can. But, they stepped up against the Texans team that has no offensive line. Also, Justin Jefferson was, if not my number 1, then number 2 favorite wide receiver coming out of college. It was him and Jerry Jeudy. I also like CeeDee Lamb coming out of college. I loved that trio. I loved them during the draft. I thought he was going to be a huge number 2 coming into week 1. He's finally stepping up into that Stephon Diggs role. I could not be happier about it. Cousins, when he's accurate, he's good. This is what the Vikings need to do. Pace the game with Dalvin Cook and then have Cousins make accurate passes to Thielen and Jefferson over the top. That is the one way the Vikings win because their defense isn't going to get it done. Texans, Deshaun, get out while you still can. That's my
get
advice.
In front of get behind a great offensive line because when he does, he can run.
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on to the next one. Sunday Night Football was a little bit weird. It was, looking at the game, it definitely was not appealing. An injury-ridden San Francisco 49ers team versus the Philadelphia Eagles and their absolute mess of a team. Somehow, the Eagles escaped with a win, 25-20, despite CJ Beathard's best efforts to improve to a 1-2-1 record. So congratulations, Philly.
Yay!
You are first in the worst division in football. Cademan, what was your reaction to watching this mediocre game that we call football?
Yeah, so this was one of those games we shouldn't call football, but we do anyway. Carson Wentz was not throwing the ball well. 193 yards. We all know he can do better than that. He only threw 1 touchdown. He threw an interception. He got sacked 3 times, which isn't necessarily his fault, but he was playing slow. Let's see. Miles Sanders and Carson Wentz were your 2 best running backs in the game, really.
Well, Miles Sanders is a true number 1, keep in mind. He is the starting running back.
But he didn't do great. He got like 3.5 average yards a carry for 13 rushes. He didn't get in the end zone, which isn't all his fault, but he wasn't explosive. Like his longest run was 9 yards, and usually from a Miles Sanders, you see somewhere like 13 to 15 or more for a long. He's kind of the type of running back where he usually has at least one big run, and he didn't because I don't know why, but I don't know how, but the 49ers defense kept him. They locked down on him for sure, and they locked down on the passing game overall pretty well. I mean, it wasn't like Travis and Greg and Richard Rodgers. They all had just kind of slow games. It was a big team effort. Like they had like 5 or 6 guys that could receive. None of them did something crazy, but I don't know how the Eagles won it. I have no idea because based on stats, the 49ers should win it. Based on pretty much everything, the 49ers should win it. But then I think the place where the Eagles got them was special teams, maybe even a few trick plays here and there. Yeah, I don't know. I did think it was really cool, though, when you have rookie Brandon, and I don't know how to say his last name because
Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk. That was a pretty sweet hurdle. That was a pretty sweet hurdle.
That was nice.
He's got but that's too bad that they lost.
Yeah.
Or should I say for the Eagles? I don't know.
Yeah, this was definitely obviously a must-win game for the Eagles, I should say. I'm sorry. See, here's the thing, and Lightning Bauer is over here saying Super Bowl hangover. No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. Patrick Mahomes passed the Madden curse to the 49ers. You want to tell me that you lost Nick Bosa, best defensive end in the league, arguably, for the season. Solomon Thomas, best defensive tackle in the league, arguably, for the season. Raheem Mostert, starting running back, out for 3 weeks. Jimmy Garoppolo, your starting quarterback, out for 4 weeks. Deebo Samuel, starting wide receiver, out for 3 weeks to start the season. They didn't have a hangover. They don't have a hangover. They don't have a hangover. They don't have anyone playing. They didn't have and you had Kittle out for 3 weeks to start the season. The reason why the 49ers are bad is because they have no team. What were you saying?
They would have won that Super Bowl. Not all these guys would be getting injured, It's the Super Bowl hangover.
No, a hangover is what happened to the Falcons. When you have your stars and they just lose. They can't do anything. That's a hangover. Mahomes gave we wondered where the Madden curse went. He gave it to the 49ers. They have nobody healthy. The only reason the Niners are in the game last time was because Kittle is back. 150 yards, 2 touchdowns in his last game. That's the only reason they're back. The 49ers don't have a hangover. They are a injury-riddled, just over everywhere across the field. How are you supposed to win without your starting quarterback's gone, your 2 best defensive players are gone, Dee Ford was injured for multiple weeks, your tight end was out for multiple weeks, your running back was out for multiple weeks, your wide receiver was out for multiple weeks. That's not a hangover. That's Mahomes gives you the Madden curse.
Okay, Lightning Bauer says, when you lose Super Bowl, you aren't good the next year. And you know what? It doesn't matter why you aren't good. You're not good, and they're in a hangover.
Yeah. Madden curse is when you get injured because you make it on the box. Happened to Gronk, happened to Odell, happened to multiple people. They are injured. Super Bowl hangover is when you just can't do anything. That was the Falcons. That's a hangover. They lost the Super Bowl, and now they're injured because Mahomes, he didn't give them a hangover. He gave them the Madden curse. That's what happened. Either way, Eagles, yes, congratulations. You're leading your division. I hope you're happy. Yeah, that's about all we can say, I think, about that game. Moving on, the Dallas Cowboys are now down to 1-3. Odell Beckham Jr. has a game of his life. Cleveland balled out on Dallas's mediocre defense, and they lose 49-38. Cademan, if you're Dallas, are you in panic mode yet?
If you're Dallas, you're wondering, man, what's up with Mike McCarthy? If you're Mike McCarthy, I feel really bad for Mike McCarthy. Yeah. Because, great, you have a great offense. That's one of the best receiving trios in the league. It's great. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb. If you did, well, for now, we'll go with Dalton Schultz because Michael Gallup isn't playing too great. But he that should be one of the best wide receiving trios in the league, and it really is. But the Cowboys do not have a defense. This is like, I think offenses, I could be wrong, but looking at a stat, I think offenses have only had to punt 4 times to the Dallas defense. And that means you're not really even playing defense. Okay, you're going against Nick Chubb. That's hard. You're going against OBJ, who can run crazy fast, who can play like a running back, but he also has ridiculous hands. And we saw that. We also saw Jarvis Landry showing up with some extra tricky stuff for that Dallas defense could not keep up with. I have no idea what was going on. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just, I don't really think it's McCarthy because he's an offensive guy. He's an offensive coach, and Dallas has put up 30-plus points in 3 straight games. So credit to them. Zeke running the ball very, very well. You've got Zeke's running the ball very well. He's efficient. He's not getting in the end zone, but that's just because Dak is throwing the ball 50 times a game. That's not Zeke's fault. And plus, Zeke's even getting passes in the backfield. He caught 8 passes last game. People would love that, especially if you're a fantasy owner. Zeke is just making people very happy right now. Amari Cooper has evolved into a true number 1. He's getting 10-plus catches a game, which I think is why Michael Gallup has regressed. CeeDee Lamb is now the deep threat for the Dallas Cowboys, and Gallup isn't bad. It's just that he's become the number 5 option. Jared was saying this on Tuesday night on Roto Hackers. You have Amari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott. After that, you got CeeDee, and Dalton Schultz has only become more and more reliable as the year has gone on. Gallup has fallen to the 5th role. It's not his fault. He's just in a position like Mecole Hardman in the Chiefs, like Willie Snead in the Ravens. There's just so many people, you can't give everyone a touchdown. If you're Dallas, you've got to get your defense together, though. Look, the Browns' offense is good, but they didn't even have Nick Chubb for half the game. Dallas's defense is a mess, especially on their back line. They really should have gotten Earl Thomas. They are a mess on defense. That's my biggest thing if I'm Dallas. And Cleveland, I mean, they're starting to pick up steam as much as I don't want to necessarily say it. They're going to have a hard matchup against the Colts this week. They've had a mostly easy schedule over the last 3 games. They've had Bengals, Washington, and Dallas. So one bad defense, I cannot speak right now. 2 bad defenses and 1 bad offense in Washington. So they've had a nice 3-game stretch, but they get Indy this week and they get the Steelers the week after. We're going to see if the Browns are for real. It's going to be their true test. But so far, Cleveland looking kind of nice.
So AJ, I know Mike McCarthy hired Mike Nolan to be his defensive coordinator. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen with Mike Nolan?
It's a rough start. I do think part of it, though, similar to the 49ers, they've had injuries. Sean Lee is out. Leighton Vander Esch, your Sean Lee of the future, is also injured. So if you're the Cowboys, I think they also lost Aldon Smith too. If you're the Cowboys, you're having to deal with not the best defense, and then on top of that, you're having to now deal with your stars injured. I think Dallas right now is just a recipient of some really tough luck from the NFL, just multiple injuries. That's what's killing them. It's Nolan's first year as Dallas's defensive coordinator. It's his first season. He's had bad performances. He's had to play good offenses, and he's had multiple injuries on defense. I think he's just in a really tough situation right now.
No, I'm kind of wondering, this is like a Dallas offense, and this is a little bit what the Packers offense used to look like when Mike McCarthy was coaching. Like, you'd have the great offense, very consistent, but the defense just most of the time could not lock up. And this is kind of how it looks like the Cowboys is. Like, I don't know. That's hard. That's hard for the Cowboys, but it could just take like a year or two to gel. Hopefully not two, but
Yep. Well, we've got one more game, unless you got anything else to say about Dallas and Cleveland. All right. Well, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the comeback kid, Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, helped to lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to an incredible second half comeback, scored 24 points in the second half compared to the Chargers 7 to beat LA 38-31. They are now 3-1. Meanwhile, the Chargers are sitting at 1-3. Cademan, before we get to Tom Brady, how about we talk about Justin Herbert for a little bit? 20 of 25, 3 touchdowns. How have you been? How have you been viewing the rookie so far?
I think he definitely has a lot of potential. He definitely shows he can be explosive. He can do more than just run the ball. He's I don't know how to explain this, but he definitely, I think the best word for him is high potential. That's 2 words. Potential. He is just, I think he can read the field very well. I think he can read, especially is what I've noticed, the linebackers really well, which is something that can be really hard for a lot of rookies to adjust to. But he definitely has a great arm. The one thing I want to say that Justin Herbert should try to do better on is I think he needs to be a little more conservative at this point and try not to throw as many interceptions as Carson Wentz is right now, because
well, he's already succeeding at that. It's not that hard to succeed more than that.
Yeah, well, I think he doesn't. I mean, I'm sure he definitely doesn't want to throw that many, but I think he does have to be a little more conservative. I think he needs to. I mean, he still has, like I said, he can read the linebackers and he can read the whole defense so well. But I do think he has to be more conservative, and I think that would make him better. Because you know what? Yeah. I'm looking back at like Brett Favre or whatever. I think he would have been even a little bit better if he would have been slightly more conservative in certain times. Now, granted, he was great when he was usually great when he would like put everything out on the field in one play. That
and then
could
he
work
would
sometimes.
step on his back foot and throw it.
Yeah, and it worked a lot. It worked a lot of times, but it was always a big risk. And I think Justin Herbert is actually like a quarterback who is willing to take risks. And I think that is good. I think that is really good for their offense, especially. I think it shows he actually has a lot of potential, but I think it's going to be interesting for Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I think I would totally agree with that. I think Herbert, obviously, he's the dude that came out of Oregon. So he's already coming from a gunslinging offense in the first place. I think the thing with Herbert, he's looked good. Yeah. He's looked patient in the pocket. He's been able to sit back and honestly stay behind that offensive line. Now, granted, like you said about the comparison to Brett Favre, I think that's a really good comparison. He is a gunslinger. He's also very mobile. The one thing I don't want him to do like Brett Favre is throw the most interceptions in NFL history. That's my one worry for him in the future. Herbert's looked good and consistent, except for just little times where he's just had a couple bad missed reads, bad throws, deep balls that shouldn't have been thrown. He's looking very poised. I think, honestly, if Tyrod is here and he was able to have a little bit more time to spend behind sitting on the bench for a little bit and learning a little more, I think he'd be even better. But for a quarterback who had to come in an emergency situation and start, he's been performing very, very well. Now, Cademan,
Very
let's
well.
move on to touchdown Tommy. Tom Brady, 5 touchdowns against the Chargers.
Ooh.
Man, what do you think? Is he getting into midseason form? Is he clicking with the offense? What are you thinking about Tom Brady right now?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't all Tom Brady. Granted, Ronald Jones was playing very well. It was one of his better games. He was getting them. What I noticed is like he would get them halfway across the field, so usually at least a little bit past midfield. It seemed like they would most of the time be running, and then once they got near the end zone, it would be Tom Brady throwing to Mike Evans, Scotty Miller, Howard, you name it. Because it seemed like once you had Ronald Jones rushing till, say, the Chargers 40 or so, or if he kept going great, then it kind of opened up the wide receivers. And it kind of looked very symmetrical every drive. You know what? Let's let Ronald Jones run it. And then once he gets to so-and-so a spot, let's give it to Tom Brady and let him chuck another touchdown to Mike Evans, because Mike Evans has gotten tied for most with Robert Tonyan touchdowns, receiving touchdowns, that is, so far in the NFL. So he is doing great, doing a great job getting open. With Tom Brady, he had a slow first, second, maybe even third game. But he definitely had a really, really consistent game for 369 yards. He did throw an interception, which I'm sure he isn't too sad about because he threw 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I think Tom Brady, the Buccaneers could not be happier at this point. I think, you know what, it's going to take any team, no matter who you are, no matter if you have every all-star, it's going to take you a couple weeks to gel. And you know what? Tampa's gelled. Their offense is great. You know what? And I think there's a difference between the 3-1 Bears that we're watching right now and Buccaneers.
Duh. You don't have to take shots at the Bears just because you can.
I can. You can take shots at the Packers if they're ever second in the division behind the Bears.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, my thoughts on Brady really fast though in the Bucks. Man, the Bucks offense is good. Dang, when they're clicking, they are good. Evan, this is without Godwin. That's the craziest thing to me. This is without Chris Godwin, arguably one of the best receivers in the NFL. You've got Mike Evans, who, when healthy, even if he had a bum ankle last game, and he still caught 122 yards. Brady is accurate. He is the best comeback quarterback in history. We all already know that. He is the comeback kid. We get that. Ronald Jones able to really flourish in a game where Fournette was injured. He wasn't able to play, gets himself 100 yards. I don't know how that's going to work out tonight. Somehow Fournette's able to play. But Brady is the most dangerous quarterback to give the ball back if he's losing. Some of the most comebacks in NFL history. He's crazy. The Bucks are efficient. They're solid. Their defense is still great. They had to play a really nice offense. For the Chargers, guys, I'm sorry. Losing Austin Eckler early in the game really kind of killed you, I think. Kelly and Justin Jackson, I mean, they're both good replacements, but Austin Eckler adds that incredible value, and he's a great pass catcher. Kelly's fumbled, I think, in 2 straight games. He's had a little bit of a rough go of it. Jackson's never really found his footing in Anthony Lynn's offense. It'll be really interesting to see what happens with the Chargers next week, but they put up a valiant effort, but Tom Brady giving him back the ball is always bad, and that is what lost the Chargers the game. The Bucks, incredible, moving, and just, they're so solid on both offense and defense. And he's hitting his tight ends all the time. Brait, Gronk, Howard, they're efficient. They have so much depth. You've got 4 running backs you can use. You have 5 wide receivers you can use. You've got 3 tight ends you can use. The Bucs team is so scary, not just because they have a great starting lineup, but because every position under that is so good. Man, Bruce Arians year 1? Year 1? I can't believe it.
And he's looking like he's so good. He's so good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think you know what? I think I'm right. Right now, Ronald Jones, currently the Bears and Bucks, they just started, still 10 minutes in the first. But Ronald Jones was doing a lot of work going down the field, and now it looks like Tom Brady's starting to try to throw it again. So I think they're going to do something similar to what they did before to the Chargers. But you know what? I think you maybe underestimate Josh Kelly.
Oh, I love the guy. I'm just worried about his fumble. Problems.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the one thing where Austin Eckler and Josh Kelly are significantly different. Like, okay, yeah, Josh Kelly and Austin Eckler both got 1 touchdown. Cool. Austin Eckler's average is a little bit better, but he gets to play more. He gets more opportunities to find holes in the line. You have, obviously, Austin Eckler more yards because he plays more. But, yeah, I think really once you get him learning how to hold the ball tight, then you have a totally different game with Josh Kelly.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree with that. I think my thing is just between the two of them, Eckler's better because he's a two-dimensional player. He can not only run, but he's probably – if not the best, he's one of the best pass-catching backs in the league. Like, that was his MO with him and Gordon. So I think it's just really going to hurt because they lose that part of their offense.
And just a quick update, Buccaneers did just score a field goal on Chicago. So go Chicago. I'm holding them to only a field goal. Interesting.
All right. Bucks go up 3-0. Well, before we wrap up, Cayman, I've got one more question for you. And this one is going to be of the fun variety. There are 4 teams without a win in the NFL. If you have to choose one of them, which one gets their first win this week? The Texans get the Texans get to play at home against the Jaguars. The Falcons get to play at home against the Panthers. The Jets get to play at home against the Cardinals. Rest in peace. And the Giants get to play away at the Cowboys. Which team do you think gets their first win? Okay, do all of them have a good chance of losing? Yes. But let's say which one has the best chance of winning?
You know what? That's hard because you have the Falcons going up against the 2-2 Carolina. You have the Jets going up 2-2 Cardinals. The Texans are going up against 1-3 Jaguars. And the Giants and the Cowboys. If I think one of them is gonna do it, I'm gonna say Daniel Jones and the Giants.
Really?
Because I think that right now, I think the Giants really are starting to kind of learn the offense, kind of just learn all that. And yes, you have one of the best offenses in Dallas, but you have one of the worst defenses in Dallas. And Daniel Jones can run the ball. He's one of the best guys that can run on the team. And I think that with injuries on the Cowboys, I think with Darius Slayton, and who's been playing great.
Slayton has not been doing well. He's had 4 catches in his last 3 games, I believe.
But he is so productive after he catches the ball. He is not. Is he a slot receiver? I want to say he is a slot receiver. I think he is.
He kind of plays all over the field with the Giants because they rotate everybody out between him and Tate and Shepard.
He's like a slot receiver. He gets open, I don't know, 5, 7, 10 yards sometimes. But then he runs after he catches it because he is open. It's not like he is being touched right as he catches the ball. Yeah, sure, sometimes, but not most of the time. And I am going to put big money down. I'm not actually putting money down, but I'm going to put big money down on the Giants beating the Cowboys. If any 0-4 team does win.
All right. All these teams are kind of a mess. I'm going to be honest. I think the Jets and Giants, I'm going to be honest. I think you can chalk both of those up as losses easily.
Oh.
The Giants have completely lost their way without Saquon Barkley. Granted, they've had to play the Steelers, Bears, who are bad against the run, but great against the pass this year statistically so far, the 49ers, and then the Rams. So they have been kind of put through the defensive ringer, but their defense has also been able to just give up tons and tons of points to certain offenses. They let Nick Mullins throw for almost 350 yards against them. I think this is a Dak Prescott game for sure. I don't think the Giants stand a chance. Slayton's had 3 catches in his last 2 games. Yeah, they have the best defensive matchup. I think if any of them, I think the Texans have the best chance only because the Jaguars are such a weird team. They can win or lose on any given day. They went in week 1. Jaguars shocked all of us, and they knocked off the Colts 27-20. And then they lost to the Dolphins 31-13. I don't get it. Even with Chark back last week, they got beat by Joe Burrow and the Bengals because they got ran all over by Mixon. If there's any team that can be bad on any given day, it's the Jaguars because they're inconsistent. I think the Cowboys are going to get a win. Panthers are never play the Falcons easy. They always play them tough. And I mean, the Jets, you can just chalk that up as a loss. They're trying to tank for Trevor anyway. So,
well, but who else is inconsistent? The Houston Texans are ridiculously inconsistent.
On defense.
Will Fuller is the definition of inconsistency.
No, he's the definition of injury prone, not inconsistent. Whenever he plays, he will get you 6 catches for 100 yards. Trust me, dude, I've owned him in fantasy for like 3 straight years.
He had a great game. Yeah. We're talking about this year. He had a great game 1. Everyone thought, you know what? Oh, man, Will Fuller's going to be looking like this the rest of the year. But guess what?
He got injured week 2.
Game 3.
He got injured.
So what? He came back and he's slow.
He came back week 3 and got 6 catches for 100 yards, I think, wasn't it?
Unless I'm mistaken, I thought.
Let me double check on that. I could be very wrong on that. I could be wrong on that.
You could be right.
Wait, that might have been the Randall Cobb game. Okay, yeah, 4 catches, 54 and a touchdown, but you got to keep in context who they're playing. They played the Steelers. They played Joe Hayden and Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's one of the hardest defenses to go and beat.
But it should be better than that because you know what? Yeah, like you said, Steelers great defense, but even their strongest point is their defensive line.
Which means that Deshaun had no time to throw. So he couldn't get it to anybody that game. He was running for his life.
It's still Will Fuller. That means he's not getting open fast enough. For sure.
What?
How is dude?
Go ahead.
Will Fuller inconsistent. He had a great game 4. He had a great game 1. Why he started off game 2 slow before he got injured. Game 3 should have done better because I think you know what? It could be because of his injuries. He gets injured all the time. We know that. I have him on many fantasy teams too. But he is just – I don't think he gets open fast enough. He is a great deep ball receiver.
True, exactly. And those plays take time to develop. And you're covered by Joe Hayden, who's one of the best and quietly one of the best defensive backs in the league. And then your quarterback doesn't have time to throw it because TJ Watt is breathing down his neck every single play. It's not Fuller's fault. It's O'Brien. He's not great at play calling. It's Pittsburgh, their great defense, and Texans' terrible offensive line. And the Jaguars' defense, they've been bad. They gave up 31 points to the Dolphins without Devontae Parker at 100%. I think
you're proving my point. It is Will Fuller. He needs to be better at being able to catch.
Last game, he had 6 catches for 100 yards against a team that didn't have a good defense. Guess what the Jaguars don't have? A good secondary. They have a good front 4, but their back line is terrible. terrible. They let Ryan Fitzpatrick throw all over them out of anybody. Jaguars this year have been good against the run. They were able to contain the Colts. Phillip Rivers had a bad game. Burrow didn't have the best game, but where were they bad against? Ryan Tannehill had a game of his life against the Jaguars. Ryan Fitzpatrick, Devontae Parker injured, game of his life against the Jaguars. If the Texans are going to have anyone to throw the ball on, it's going to be the team that doesn't have a good secondary.
I think you are just, totally wrong. I think Will Fuller needs to, he's not that type of player, but I think as being their number one wide receiver, you have to be able to catch much more than just the crazy deep ball. And I think that Will Fuller, he's great, but I think his injuries slow him down. And I think that given a Jaguars defense and more rest time, he could do better. But I think he's the definition of inconsistency. And I do not say we're not saying sure, but I don't think we can call the Texans and Will Fuller the team that has a better chance against the Jaguars. If it's not the Giants,
no way. No way.
The Falcons win it because they have a great offense. And
Julio might be out, though. Keep in mind, Julio might be out and Calvin Ridley's questionable.
Calvin Ridley's going to play. We know that.
We think. We're actually not sure. Hamstring injuries are the scariest if you're a wide receiver.
That's true. But, okay, Julio's out. Okay, Calvin Ridley, we saw this against the Packers. He was playing really well. He was coming in at
Cademan against the Packers, he had 0 catches on 5 targets.
Wait, am I thinking of?
I don't know who you're thinking of. The Falcons were bad. The only thing that went for them was Gurley's 2 touchdowns.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Whoa. I must have been seeing Calvin Ridley's number on someone else because hold on.
0 catches on 5 targets.
I am so confused right now. Wow, this is crazy. Okay, just a minute.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So maybe it was Russell Gage I was seeing.
Russell Gage, 4 catches for 22 yards.
Maybe it was Hurst.
Hurst had, I think, 3 catches, if I remember correctly. No, he led the team with 5 catches. He led the team with 5.
It had to be Hurst. There was someone doing something out there.
I think no, my bad. 4 catches. 4 catches for 51 yards for Hurst.
Okay.
The Falcons just were terrible against the Packers.
He was one of their best playmakers after Gurley. And so I think with their good offense, so can we call them good? I think we can, based on. I think we can call them a good offense.
I think we can. It's weird because the Falcons started off the year so well on offense. And then the last 2 weeks, they kind of just died. They didn't.
Yeah.
Gurley he's had himself 2 great games in a row, but Julio's injured. Ridley's got hamstring issues. Hayden Hurst's targets fluctuate from here to here. He could have as many as 8 or as few as 3 in a game. Russell Gage, he's a great 3 to be fair, but they couldn't get the ball to him. The Falcons are one of the weirdest teams in football because they started off hot on offense and then just completely tapered off. If they're healthy, they're great, but if they're not, they're at best mediocre, it looks like.
And you know what? Going back to the Texans game, I think that I think it just depends on too many things for the Texans to win because I think their offense, Jacksonville doesn't have a great defense. As a matter of fact, they have one of the worst, like probably top 7 worst. But you still are going to have many times when Deshaun Watson is going to be running for his life, and Will Fuller's not open, which it seems like he's not. He's so inconsistent. That's just how I've always viewed him. He is inconsistent, whether that be because of his
keep
injuries
in mind,
or
this is his
anything
first
else.
year
I don't
as
know
a
what it
number
is.
one.
True. Still, which is great for him, but he's still inconsistent, you know. And I think, you know what, he's definitely improved. He's definitely improved for sure to get up to the number 1 spot. But he's still so inconsistent. And I think a lot of this game is going to depend on 2 things. Offensive line, David Johnson. Because David Johnson can play really great. And they have a mess of other running backs that they can pull out too. But I think once David Johnson starts to get going, then I think their whole team plays better, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Such a great addition to not addition necessarily, but just
they just got him this year.
Yeah, he's been so key to the Texans offense, really.
Yeah. So, was it worth trading for DeAndre Hopkins when you could have got Devonta Freeman in free agency? No, but he has been good. Yeah. And see, that's the reason why I think the Texans have the best chance of winning. The Jaguars don't have a good defense. And then with the Giants, Daniel Jones has not gotten the ball to Slayton at all. The Giants defense, I mean, their front 7 is not bad, but they let up 300 yards to Nick Mullins. And now you're playing Dak Prescott, who leads the league in yards. So I think they're going to die. I think they've only scored more than 10 points, I think, once the entire year. And that was even with Saquon to start. Yeah. I think the Giants don't stand a chance, especially in Dallas, because they're having fans back in Dallas. They're allowing up to half the stadium. I don't think the Giants stand a chance.
You know what? With Saquon out, it's going to be hard because so much of the offense was based off of him.
And Sterling Shepard's on IR. I actually just noticed that.
Yeah, and Sterling Shepard. I forgot about that. Yeah. That's going to be really, really hard for any offense to lose their top 2 go-tos. So,
yeah. Well, I
think they still could win. I think, honestly,
okay, how about you want to make a bet on this on the channel? You want to make the bet on this? So if the Texans beat the Jaguars, if the Texans beat the Jaguars, I have to go on a full if the Texans beat the Jaguars, you have to go on a full 1-minute rant about the Chicago Bears and how great they are. And if the Giants beat the Cowboys, I have to do the same, but for the Packers. No snide comments, nothing underhanded. No little oh, yes, they're great, but we really know this. Just a full 1 minute for either of us. Giants win. I have to talk about the Packers. Texans win. You have to talk about the Bears.
And what happens if neither team wins or both teams?
Then we just know that both of them – I mean, we're guessing on teams that are 0-4. Yeah. So, I mean, nothing happens. If they both win, neither of us do it. If they both lose, neither of us do it.
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome. Let's do it. Well –
heard it.
Now everyone has something to look forward to next week. This has been a 1-hour edition of the Allied Rivals podcast. We did have a lot of stuff to go over, to be fair, but this was a very interesting one. We had some nice comments. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Brett, Nathan, and Lightning Bauer. Be sure to check out the rest of our channel. They are not all 1-hour episodes. Be sure to check out our Allied Rivals shorts. As usual, 5-minute videos on short little opinionated things. Hopefully we'll be coming out with one of those soon. Caden, will you finish us with our verse?
Yeah, I'll just read it off again. I will give thanks to you, Lord, with all my heart, and I will tell of all your wonderful deeds. Psalm 91.
There we go. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you guys next time on the one and only Allied Rivals podcast. I'm going to go get some water and watch the Bears game because my voice is almost dead. We will see you guys
next time. AJ, one more question.
Yes.